Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm going to call to order the Town of Andover town meeting, special town meeting, public hearing for Thursday, March 13th, 2025. We're starting at 7:17. The electors and citizens qualified to vote in town meetings in the town of Andover are hereby notified that the special town meetings and a public hearing for the town of Andover will be held at the Andover Elementary School, 35 School Road, Andover, Connecticut, on Thursday, March 13th at 7 p.m. for the following purpose: to discuss and act upon the proposed solar array project for Andover Elementary School roof, and then to adjourn. So the first order of business is to choose a moderator for said meeting. Does anyone have any nominations? Carol Barton. Does I have a second for that?
Second.
Julia Haverland. Are there any other nominations?
No.
Okay.
Can you turn the volume up a little?
I think that's just me. I apologize. Wally, the meeting is not yours. Thank you.
Okay, the second item is to discuss and act upon the proposed solar array project for the Andover Elementary School roof. Who is going to speak to this?
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kate Greenhouse. I am the board chair for the Board of Education. I have been for kind of a short time. This solar project on the school roof has been something that we've been in cycles to apply for a grant for. It's been in the works for 2.5 years now, I believe. Steve Fuss, who is no longer on the board, was the person who actually started the interest in trying to get solar on our roof and trying to save us money in electricity cost. So it's been a long time coming. We did apply for the grant, I believe, 2 cycles before we got approved. And since we got it, we've been, in talks with Green Skies this entire time. And there have been obviously a lot of modifications and questions along the way, but we're really excited to bring this forward and to try to save our town and our school some money in the cost savings that we'll have associated with the solar and energy. And then I'd like to introduce Ryan. He's here from Green Skies tonight. He came up here from Essex. He has been at several Board of Education meetings. So if you guys want to review any of those, they're all posted on our website for the Board of Ed as YouTube videos, but he's here tonight to just kind of give a quick overview of the project, and then we can answer any questions that people would have.
Thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate it. So I have only 15 hard copies of so should I give them to?
Just ask the question.
Okay.
They've all seen him.
They've all seen. Okay. All right. So why don't I'll introduce who Green Skies is and give you a quick explanation of how this solar project works and how the contracting took place. So Green Skies is based out of North Haven, Connecticut. We install solar on top of the roofs of municipalities throughout the state. We're on about 35% of all municipal buildings in the state. So whether that's police stations, town halls, school buildings, what we do is we install the solar at our cost. We then sell the power back to the building. Whoever is paying the utility bill will receive, usually it's around a 50% discount on their energy bill. So that's essentially the business model is Green Skies owns it. There's no out-of-pocket cost to the town, and we sell the power at a cheaper rate than what you're currently buying it for. The way we're able to do that is through an incentive program ran through the state of Connecticut, and it's a competitive auction that we have to apply for. It took us, as Kaylee said, 2 years to finally secure that grant. That was in the spring of 2024 when we secured it. Since then, after securing the grant, we were able to begin engineering the project, evaluating the utility room, the structural integrity of the roof to ensure that it can handle the added weight of solar on top of it. Fortunately, after all of our engineering work was completed, which was completed recently, we were able to determine that the structural integrity, using a third-party structural engineer, confirmed that the additional weight of solar could be installed on top of this roof. Most roofs in New England are built tougher than down south because they have to account for the snow load already. So there's usually a significant amount of additional weight that could be added to we also had to look at the electrical room to ensure that the interconnection of the additional power going to the utility meter here would not create any issues. We were able to solve for that situation, and the electrical engineer signed off on our interconnection, and Eversource also confirmed that it was an acceptable interconnection. So right now we are proposing, I believe it's close to 180 kilowatt project. It's set to offset close to around 60 to 70% of the annual electricity demand at this building. The current design, and I don't know if you have the current design, but it's essentially taking up all of the newer roof space here. This roof, I believe, was installed around 2016. I don't have the exact date, but the warranty on your roof expires in 2046, and the manufacturer is through Carlisle. Carlisle has done millions of schools throughout the country. We work with them often to ensure that after the solar is installed, the warranty will remain in place. So the solar will not negate the warranty. Green Skies will not build the project unless the warranty remains. And that is on Green Skies to make sure that we go through the punch list with the manufacturer and ensure that everything is built properly. After the solar is installed, there will be a post inspection with the manufacturer's rep from the warranty, and they'll sign off, or they'll ask for us to make corrections, and afterwards they will sign off on the warranty. We know how important it is for schools and townships to install a roof and how expensive that cost is, and we understand that the warranty is essential to remain in place. And we, again, would not build the project without that in place. So I could go through quickly just milestones of what we've accomplished so far, and then happy to answer questions. So we, Green Skies, in order to submit an application to the state to apply for that incentive, we have to sign a power purchase agreement with the Board of Education, because they're the ones who pay for the power of the school. So we signed a power purchase agreement with the Board of Education and submitted for an incentive. 2 years later, we were finally granted that incentive, which is a very difficult thing to accomplish on its own. That gave us the ability to start spending money to engineer this project and get it to the point where it is today. So at this point, we're essentially in a position where we would go for permits. The project is very close to being fully engineered. We're at about 50% drawings at this point. We ideally would like to try to pull permits by the end of this spring and would like to start construction this summer when there's less going on at the building. Construction would take maybe at maximum 30 to 60 days. It would be a relatively quick turnaround. And we'd like to try to do our installs when the students are in the building. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you'd like. Yep.
Donovan, so how much weight are we putting on our school roof? The panels are how much per square?
Yep, so it's usually about 2,000 per square foot of additional capacity. But that's all through our third-party engineer who stamps the drawings and confirms that that additional weight could be applied when accounting for snow.
Speak a little louder, please, so she can't hear.
Yep,
So our warranty stays in effect,
absolutely.
both considerations for snow and panels. And it's of no cost to the town, did I get it right?
It's no cost to the town, that's correct.
Thank you.
Does that cover the inverters too?
The inverters are paid for by Green Skies. The inverters are paid for and owned by Green Skies. Our warranty on the inverters are 10 years, and our warranty on our panels is 20 years. This is a 20-year contract, so Green Skies makes a business decision as to whether to buy the 20-year warranty on the inverters or the 10-year. We tend to choose to go with the 10-year because we bet that the inverters will last longer. Go ahead.
Yeah, as there is the structural engineer license in the state. Item 4A of the warranty, 30-year warranty for the roof, it says this warranty shall be null and void if we penetrate the roof for solar panels without first obtaining written authorization. You also mentioned that engineering drawings are at this time 50% complete. Are you at the stage where you've submitted the exact detail of each penetration, where they're signed off on it? Have they approved each? The devil's in the detail. Each penetration has specific hardware that goes through, mechanical flashing that goes around it. They have to approve it so the warranty is not screwed up. Have you gotten to the point where you've submitted engineering drawings to prove that each penetration on the roof?
So we received the roof warranty recently. We have not submitted this to the manufacturer yet, our drawings. So the answer is no, we have not gotten sign off from Carlisle yet. But that is essential to before we can start this project or even consider building.
I have a couple of questions, I want to do them one at a time.
Sure.
The first one is, you're saying you're going to get Carlisle, but that was actually in your contract, that you're going to get permission from the manufacturer, in fact, the road doesn't address it at all. So, if you can do this all the time, and you always have to do it, why isn't that in your contract?
So why is it not in our power purchase agreement contract?
In your contract for the installation, why isn't it saying there that you're going to protect the town by making sure that they have a roof warranty that's been covered?
The reason why it wouldn't be in there is because if we build this project and harm your roof, we would be held liable for that without cooperating with Carlisle. If anything, it's on us because we would have to essentially redo your entire roof. So we work with Carlisle to protect, ourselves, but also the town. And we would make a decision to not build this project without their sign off. If anything, it's
Contract doesn't say that, this is my point.
yeah, it's an assurity on our end because these roofs are very expensive.
Can we put it in the contract?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so that's one. Two, I did not see a wind study done for the roof.
Our engineers do have to do a wind study, so I don't know if it was provided. I don't know if you have the material in hand, but because we did just receive the warranty, we now know what type of racking to install, which does impact the wind study.
Well, the warranty doesn't tell you what type of racking, and so that's not really true. So the warranty just tells you to get permission to carve.
Yep.
You guys also work with the roof, you normally should have figured out what the racking is going to be. Because this type of install is going to be probably mostly ballast applied. It's not just using any capacity, it's going to be extra weight.
It depended on who the manufacturer was on this roof. I mean, Carlisle does allow mechanical attachments.
Yeah, they're going to basically be a mechanical attachment on every 10 grams. Right?
Wherever the structure will be this. But some manufacturers do not allow penetration, some do. When we found out that it was Carlisle I think it was a week ago, that allows us to start engineering what type of racking we could install. Carlisle fortunately does allow it, which ballasted systems are great, but then
That's a different conversation.
it is, yeah, they're heavier and they also have the wind issue could
The
actually.
issue with ballast, so that everyone in the audience understands, is that when they do a ballast install, they're really just doing a rack and they're putting a cinder block on it in different locations to help keep it from lifting the wind. Problem is with our wind, it comes off the back there where everything is open. And because it needs to be facing that way, the back of the panel is going to be like an airplane wing facing into the wind. It's going to want to literally lift those systems. And so as the wind turns on and off, it's going to roll on that roof. And if you've ever had anything sitting on your carpet or whatever, that little movement is literally it can wear itself right through the roof structure. So Carlisle was probably going to ask them to put some type of mechanical fasteners in the system somewhere, but they're also going to require them to put probably pads underneath the racking so it doesn't wear through on the corners. And that sharp corner where everything comes together is going to be the issue. But in order to do that, you'll probably need a wind study, which again, I hadn't seen. I think the other thing I'm concerned about is you said 15% saving, right? And we got a handout here from the town, from our town administrator, and said, something in the neighborhood. We saw that there before packet here. That we're paying 26 cents per kilowatt instead of around 12. And you can save about half the current cost, but that's not true because so I think your 15% number is probably a little closer. It's probably going to be closer to 10. And I'm just giving you, just so we're really clear, I have solar on my house and I love it, but I bought mine, I didn't rent it, I didn't lease it. My concern in this case is that I think there's a misunderstanding about how this works. And when you explain power to the group, we don't pay the delivery fee if we're producing at that moment. So in the middle of the day, when we get a lot of sun and we're using power, right, we're also producing. And so we get a net against what we're using at that moment. But right now, it's dark outside. There's no sun. Lights are on, gym is being used, whatever's going on at school. Or in January and February, when there's solar, when there's snow on the panels, again, even in the middle of the day, you're not producing. So you're going to have times in the year where you're actually in session, the school's in session, you're not getting power production, and you're still paying the delivery fee. So it'll be 11.12 or whatever it is, like cents a kilowatt.
11.2, yep.
And then we'll still have the delivery fee, which we don't know, unfortunately now, in the state of Connecticut, is about 2/3 of our bill. So you're still going to have that. It's going to be probably closer to a 10% savings. So what is the school's bill on either a monthly or a yearly basis?
So the way that we factor in the production of the system is on an annual basis using the PVSys software with historical weather data dating back 20 years. In order to finance a project like this, we have to show the banks accurate weather data. So the production that you see here is what we're expecting, and it's production that we have to have another third-party engineer sign off on, that the production is going to be at least a 90% chance every year that we'll hit those production benchmarks. So what we're showing in this analysis is close to 200,000 kilowatt hours a year being produced by the solar project alone.
And what's the school's usage?
That's what, I don't have that offhand, but what I do know is it's nowhere near at 100% of your existing energy demand.
Well, in your originally you said 60%.
Yes, yeah, I would expect it to be close to 60%. The panels do degrade every single year by 50% per the panel. Sorry, 0.5%, not 50%. Yeah,
Yes, I mean, to be honest with you, I love solar, so I'm gonna correct you, that's actually not true.
That's the warranty, is what I'm
The
saying.
warranty said
Yes.
they're allowed to reduce, but they actually get more efficient as time goes on.
Yeah, yeah,
My panels have gotten increased about 3 or 4% every year.
I would agree, yeah.
So I mean,
So, but that's how we, in our, when we're showing savings to the town, we show it going down by half a point,
sure.
only because that's what's guaranteed.
So that's what you're bearing your production to.
Yeah, so it's
You're
going
bearing your production to about 60% of the production, but not all of that, even 60% of that production isn't going to be offsetting the power delivery fee at the other times at night when we're drawing or when there's snow on the panels in January and February and maybe December, right?
Right. In the summertime, we're going to be overproducing here and net metering back.
So
to
what
the
is your cost savings, actual
Yeah.
savings, dollar amount to the school?
16,000 in year one.
$16,000 approximately.
Yep. And then a total cumulative savings of close to $500,000 over the 20-year term.
Okay,
So that's the dollar.
Okay, that seems reasonable. So I guess my other question would be, when you're putting these projects together, you said it's a grant, and what is that grant actually paying for?
So it's not a grant, I misspoke on that. It's called the NRES, Non-Residential Energy Solution Program. What this is a mandate from the state of Connecticut that requires that the public utilities in the state, which is United Illuminating and Eversource, they have to purchase X amount of their power through renewable sources.
So it's not a grant, what you're saying is you apply to a program that allows you to sit this solar panels on a roof.
Yep.
And you do these with municipalities because municipalities, if they want it, you don't have to go to the city council. Whereas if you were doing this as a commercial project, you have to go to the city council in Connecticut, and they have to decide whether your project is approved or not.
The siting council is for projects over 1 megawatt in size. This is 1/10 of that size. Our Green Skies does go through the siting council often on larger ground mount projects that we do. But this would, just be a local, we would look to apply for building electrical permits and do the fire department. But that it would not be the same.
So my last question is, now let me bring this up because I've been in Andover for long enough and I've been through a 38-inch storm. Although we've had the last 4 winters, listen, I'm not complaining, we've had great winters and not a lot of snow, right? But I think most of you remember back in 2013, I've got video if you don't, plowing 38 inches on my driveway. There is no accommodation in your drawings for snow removal if we get a heavy snowstorm. And most schools would go up there with literally a snow blower or some other type of removal equipment, as our school did when that storm hit, and clear off the roof so that it doesn't collapse. So what happens when you get a crazy snowstorm like that? How do schools address it?
So I don't want to speak out of line because I don't know what the structural engineer used for their snow loads.
It's 110 pounds, that's the standard in the state of Connecticut.
What was that?
110 pounds.
Right, or I guess I'm saying what this, a 1 in 100-year storm, 1 in 500-year storm, I don't know.
Well, this is a 1 in 14-year storm, because we're not, Europe, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but I'm not an engineer and I can't speak to what the excess load is available at this building. What I do know is we would, if we're even close or remotely close to not having structural capacity, we would not build this project. So if a storm like that were to occur and we thought we were on the edge, we would not build this project if there was any sort of jeopardy in the structural integrity of this building. The actual mechanics of physically who's removing snow and what green skies would likely do on a one-off type of situation is we would evaluate the storm when it's coming in, look at all of our current assets within this area, which we have dozens of like Columbia or Order schools, Scotland Elementary, bunch of schools in Willimantic, Canterbury. We have a lot of rooftop solar projects in this area. So when if a storm were to occur, we would handle that on a case-by-case basis.
So two other quick questions. One, you said you want to do 10-year warranties on your inverters, but I just want to be clear, I'm trying to help you here, actually. You are responsible for the system for the whole 20 years, so I don't really care if you have a 10-year warranty or 1-year warranty, you're buying a new one if it goes bad, right?
We're buying ourselves a new one. We
But
own.
we're not
yeah.
paying for it.
No.
Okay, so there's your cookie. So the next question is, was this project considered for offsetting any other town building? Because we look at a community center and another building next door. And I looked at your numbers, and I'm gonna tell you that your numbers are really low for your production. And I'm gonna tell you that because we don't actually get 4.5 hours of production sun here in Andover. With the clearance that we have, I can tell you I get about 6.5 hours a day of sun. My system is only evaluated for 11.4 kilowatts, and I actually did 27 last year. So it's really not about, your numbers are probably overshooting. And the question is, why wasn't it taken into account that other buildings, like why didn't their net meter tie in when they're literally right there? Because that would eat up the excess during the day that you're producing. And so then everybody can get advantage of that power purchase agreement when you're not paying to deliver fee. And then at night, everybody's fine on their own anyway, so.
Yeah, it's, the NRES program is 1 meter per project. We can't split up the projects, but we can do behind the meter rooftop or ground mount projects to offset those other buildings at no cost to the town through a power purchase agreement. This opportunity came through the Board of Education. We were working directly with them on the NRES application for the meter at this building. So we were sort of just focused on that. With the rooftop and the meter in the same building, it definitely enables us to lower costs for interconnection. If we have to trench underground to get to another meter from this roof, it is very expensive. So usually it's the cheapest possible. In order to have the lowest PPA rate, we have to build the project at that building and offset that meter at that facility. That's usually the best way for everyone to save money.
I don't know if anybody told you there's actually a conduit, I don't think you know.
Oh, there's there? I didn't know that.
That's all institutional knowledge, and that's why there's a little frustration on this project, is that unfortunately, the school did the project, and so getting ground people from other parts of the town, we would have been able to help with those types of things. So if you just know there's conduit for buildings.
Well, there is excess roof space, so we could build a second project.
Thank you.
What happens to the excess if there is any excess?
Excess power production.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you overproduce.
So because the state of Connecticut has net metering, we're allowed to overproduce. For example, in the summer months, we probably will, when it's probably quieter here at this building. What that does is it credits the school's bill the following. So you'll receive a essentially $0 bill in August. In July, we produce a significant amount of power.
So
In a lot of states, that's not.
There are no penalties?
No, as long as we don't produce more power than this building needs on an annual basis, there are no penalties. And as the gentleman was saying, we're probably close, or as I was saying, probably close to around 60% of the annual offset at this building. So we're likely not going to hit those or overproduce ever. The rule is to try to stay at about 85% of the building's load, because some years you might have a really sunny year and you might overproduce. So
I can answer this. I have an electric bill, and the school usually uses about 30,000 kilowatt hours per month on average, which is 360,000 kilowatt hours a year, which is way above what this system is going to produce.
What's the school's bill?
It's 28,000 to 30,000 kilowatt hours.
What's the cost of it?
December was $4,435.
I have another question.
Sure.
Did you actually look at placing the solar panels on the ground versus on the roof? And are there any advantages to this range?
We actually did look on the ground at on this property. There does seem to be a lot of recreational use of this land, so we try to stay away from that. If there's a newer roof with a long warranty, it definitely is the cheaper way to install there, and you're using essentially useless real estate that you can't really, where the kids aren't playing, soccer or outside. There's woodland out there as well. We try not to, cut down trees if we don't have to. Site work is pretty expensive there. So we also do carport structures as well. But in this case, the carports are very expensive. So everything sort of just kept going back to the roof. We try to evaluate all options when we're looking at an opportunity. And just because you have a lifespan on this roof till 2046, this solar project will only be on here until 2045. It just sort of made sense.
How do you handle the ad that these things are breaking? Some guy has chemicals in it.
I'm sorry.
How do you handle the ad that, like, say, one are breaking once open and have some of them that have these chemicals in them? You got kids here,
Hazardous chemicals in the solar panels?
Do you have, what do they do? I'm the regional one here.
Yep.
Let caddy back here, some of them, a lot of them.
Yeah, so we actually have to purchase our panels now. As of a couple of years ago, everything has to be purchased domestically. So there likely could have been hazardous material in solar panels that were sourced from other countries that we're not aware of. We have to buy all of our material domestically, and that has a lot of regulations on it in terms of what's in there. Yep.
To be clear, cell phone is considered a hazardous waste for the solar. So the panel itself.
Yes, but I guess what I'm saying is we're not going to be, there's no liquid substance that's going to be leaking, onto the roof. If a panel does break, we do own it, and we have to remove that panel from the roof and replace it. I don't, because there's not a lot of trees around this facility, we're really not expecting tree branches to be falling on it. It's not a shoreline town, so we don't have to deal with the seagulls and, dropping shells and everything on it. So fortunately, we're in a relatively good spot here from, I guess, a low maintenance location.
Do they require cleaning periodically? And do you handle that?
Yes, so in Connecticut, we actually don't really need to clean as much as what are some of our projects in Southern California. It's dustier, it's sandier, and we do have to wash the panels. In Connecticut, we have rain often enough where, in the springtime, we might have pollen that accumulates on it, but the rain usually washes those panels off. So we don't oftentimes pay for cleaning them, but we do maintain them. About 3 times a year, we would look through the permission of the Board of Ed, gain access to the property, and do preventative maintenance on the system, usually prior to the summertime to make sure that it's ready for higher producing months, and then in the winter time to get it ready for any weather that may occur.
How'd you come up with the buyout costs in the contract?
So the buyout just has to be fair market value or higher according to the investment tax credit regulations at the federal government, which we would be taking advantage of here. So in the power purchase agreement, it has to be at least fair market value or higher.
So we could ask for fair market value as a change in the contract?
Fair market value or higher. Yeah.
So we could ask for a change, so that, because your buyout schedule is a little crazy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
$300,000 for a 20-year-old system, it could be like, kind of stupid. So could we ask for a change in the contract that said that we only pay fair market value, because you said fair market value is or high?
I'm sure it's something that our attorneys would look at. Yeah, if that amendment would like to be sent to us, we are happy to review it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm curious about, Eric had written up something that talks about if there's a leak in the roof, who pays for it? So I'm concerned about the taxpayers and what the ultimate cost for the taxpayer is.
Yep.
You repeat your question?
Yeah, you asked if there was a leak in the roof.
Yes, what is the ultimate cost to the taxpayer? How does that affect the taxpayers?
Yep, so currently, if you had a leak in the roof, I assume that the warranty or the local roofing company who installed this is under warranty to fix that leak. At least that's the way any roof that's under warranty should be handled. When solar is installed, your warranty will remain in place, so they are still responsible for the leak.
Even if the leak,
If the leak is because of us,
Yes.
we're responsible for the leak, absolutely.
so the taxpayers won't have to pay for the removal of the panel and then,
Right, if it's through Green Skies' negligence, then that would be our responsibility.
What
okay.
happens if there's a disagreement between Green Skies and roofing installer as to what caused the leak? For instance,
Yep.
we have a wind issue here, so if there's a ballast issue that's starting to go through, if you don't know that's not mine, and they say it is, then what happens?
Yeah, so prior to installation, we have to come onto the site with the manufacturer. They're going to walk with us and look at every single detail of this roof. If there are current issues pre-installation, they need to fix those. After the installation, they come back out, they look at every single one of our racking posts, make sure that they're perfect, and then they sign off on it. So when they sign off on our installation and maintain its warranty, it's back to business as usual with your current roof situation.
You still didn't answer my question. If there's a disagreement,
Right, if there's a disagreement, Green Skies will discuss it with the manufacturer.
So, okay, so that's not, okay, so I don't know how connected Eric was to this, but Eric's statement was that in the case of a leak, the contractor would charge the school the cost to remove the solar system, the energy the system would have produced while the system was removed, and the cost to reinstall the system. So that's not ever going to happen?
So long as the issue wasn't caused by the town, I guess. If the town did something up there that created the leak, then the manufacturer would probably say that's, the town's fault. But I guess if someone's working on the HVAC units up there and that were to occur, you'd sort of be in the same situation. So it would have to be something that the town did.
So there is a likelihood of a person needing to work on a roof for something,
Yep.
and something could happen. I guess that's my concern, is the ultimate tax liability for the taxpayer.
Yes, and that's what we try to make sure that there's absolutely no liability for the town. We can't control, though, of course,
Everything.
what someone might be doing on the roof at any given time.
The annex roof needs to be replaced at some point. Your new engineering drawings take that into account. The ones that were originally posted on the school website did not. So there was some mechanical installations that went across that roof that would need to be removed for that roof to be done. The new plans address that so that that's not an issue.
Can you, I was actually going to bring that up tonight. Which roof is that?
It's the farthest roof, that's the tallest one. That was the one roof, I was on the roof project at the school.
Got it.
So
Yep.
that was the one roof that we didn't address at the time. And we gave it at that time a 15 to 20-year time frame. You know, so we're 10 years in. So basically in the middle of this project, that roof's gonna need to be done at some point. So how is that gonna address in, you know, with the conduits and some things that were coming up, and some mechanical that were going over, how is that addressed in your drawings? In your old drawings, it wasn't addressed at all, that was a concern.
That was actually an issue we were discussing as soon as we saw the warranty, and that it only covered the I think it's a loose stone up there.
Yeah.
That's on top of the roof. So currently you're operating under no warranty on that roof, from what I understand.
No, it's a validated system, so it's a stone system, as you mentioned.
Yep.
There's no warranty there, but my point is, we know that roof is going to need to be replaced, and it would take the next 10 years. Your project is a 20-year project, your panels will still be in the way, and so are your mechanicals. So how is that addressed in the drawings to work around that roof so it can still be replaced? Because according, as Liz just brought up, if this roof was done, right, we're good. That roof is not bad. Your mechanicals are in the way, the system would have to be disengaged, we'd have to pay for power it's not producing, as your contract knows. How would you address that to make sure that you don't have that problem?
Yeah, we prefer to not build on roofs that without
Right.
you know, at least 20 years on
There are
it.
no panels in your design on that roof, there are mechanicals.
Yep.
Cutting across that.
Then that's something that would need to be adjusted. And
So
that's
that
why,
hasn't been addressed in your engineering program,
Yeah.
designs that are 50% done,
no,
so that needs to be addressed.
yeah, and, you know, 10 years left is good information to know, to understand that there might be a new roof at that location in 10 years.
There's definitely going to be a roof exam.
Yep.
The ballast hasn't been addressed in at least 15 that I know.
Right.
So, it's a.
Yeah, we noticed that, and I was hoping that might have just been a ballasted section that was newer.
Not even close.
Right, but that's very helpful information. Usually that's something when we go to try to pull a permit, that's something that's discussed directly with the town to understand exactly.
So you're saying your engineers never looked at that and said, hey, by the way, we should probably work around this?
It was a
You
question,
look at a balanced roof and know how old it is, just like this deterioration level.
as soon as we saw the warranty, it was the first question. Because, we weren't sure the date on that. The warranty excluded that location of the roof. And then, that is,
Which whole different, like building permit, it actually discussed all of that.
yep,
What was done and not done.
okay,
I got a question.
sure.
If the town meeting was willing to approve the project, would Green Skies have any problem with laying out some of the contingencies the residents sat there and identified, such as, adding the town to the agreement? Because the agreement as signed was Town of Andover Board of Education, but actually have a secondary agreement that sits there and includes the Town of Andover on the project. Also sitting there and writing down in this addendum to the contract of the preservation of the 30-year warranty on the AAS roof, identifying the buyout of the system will be fair market value plus, let's say, $1. All right, and then I do think the last point by Adrian regarding the roof replacement and codifying that or codifying that so that if there's mechanicals or solar panels on the older roof, that the town is not held to any negative monetary point for having to remove those items to replace that roof station. Would Green Skies be okay if we approved it with those contingencies and then worked with the Board of Education and worked with Green Skies to get the addendum to the contract?
I absolutely think that all of these questions were very valid, and I don't think any of them would be an issue in the structure of our power contracts. I guess the process of having the town part of the power purchase agreement is confusing only because their Board of Ed is buying the power. Does the town want to buy the power too? Or,
Well, we would probably like to if we could, but we don't do it.
okay. Well, I think that's an internal town decision that I, don't want to stand in the way of.
I mean, I'm asking if we make a motion that puts these contingencies in place, will Green Skies be okay with it? That's just asking you, you will evaluate those are the conditions that the town meeting puts in place.
Yes. Yep.
Anybody have any more questions for something, gentlemen from Green Skies, Ron?
In the warranty, does it mention anything about any proration or depreciation of the product where there would be a discounted coverage?
In the warranty or in the power production?
The warranty.
Yep, so the warranty it goes right back to the way it is written, the way it is currently written. This is just a product of that manufacturer having to get used to. It's probably been 10 years of significant solar development on top of their roofs, where their tenants or their customers want solar, so they had to accommodate that.
No, I'm not talking about the roofs, I'm talking about the solar panels
Oh, okay.
themselves. If
Yes.
it's an issue, is it 100% coverage for the entire warranty?
For the solar panels? Yes, for 20 years. And we have to use a solar panel manufacturer that is Bloomberg Tier 1 rated, which makes them financeable. So yes, they're a 20-year, and then inverters are 10.
What happens if Green Skies goes out of business?
If Green Skies were to go out of business, our lender would then look to find another manager of the asset, so they would go and take care of it. The lender, though, would have to step in the shoes of Green Skies, and then they would have to manage the asset and then eventually sell it to an operator who could continue to manage the solar.
Is that written into the contract, that circumstance and all that?
Yeah.
What's in?
Yeah, it's if you have trouble sleeping at night, you can read that. It's very boring, but it's
important.
It's very important. Yes, it's actually a significant part of the power contract, where the lender can take over if we're in breach.
Do you have any other towns where the town, as well as the Board of Education, is a signer on the PPA that is for a project on a school?
For a school
Where the
building?
town, yeah, for a school building, do you have any other towns where the town, as well as the Board of Education, is a signer on the PPA contract?
I would have to think about that. I've never seen the town be party to a school project, so I don't think so. But it depends. It's whatever the charter, I guess, is here that we would have to. Green Skies could abide with.
Okay, thank you.
I believe you said that the panels would be manufactured domestically. The paper that we picked up tonight says that they will be made by Shanghai Aerospace. Is that,
I don't think that's our solar manufacturer. We have to purchase domestic content. I just don't know what you're looking at.
yeah, it was something,
Okay.
Yes, that company is a domestic manufacturer, even though they're a Chinese partner. They're a domestic manufacturer, they actually build them here in Wisconsin. So,
All right, Jeff, you want to make the motion?
Wait a minute, I'm not sure if we're ready, because I still have questions about that. What's the, I mean,
You might be looking at Eric's document.
it's Eric's doc.
It's Eric's document. You gotta remember, Eric, before he became town administrator, spent 5 years working in the solar industry. So he was writing a document as reviewing the information. So,
But he named a specific company, Shanghai Aerospace Automobile.
and he sat there, Adrian, because Adrian's information is that they're a domestic manufacturer.
Okay.
They've set up facilities in the United States.
Okay, I did not do that. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. So the resolution states, resolved that the voters of this town meeting of the town of Andover, subject to prior subsequent execution of a second amendment to solar power services agreement by authorized representatives of each party, Green Skies Energy, the town of Andover, and the Andover Board of Education, do hereby approve implementation of the duly proposed and noticed solar array project for the Andover Elementary School roof with the following school roof. Such second amendment shall include, at a minimum, the addition of the town of Andover to the agreement, the preservation of the 30-year warranty on the AES roof. The buyout of the system will be based upon fair market value plus $1. And Green Skies will make every effort to avoid the roof area that has less than a 20-year life expectancy.
Is someone going to second that? Would you state your name to the clerk, please?
LOKIEC.
Okay, you've all heard the motion, made, seconded. When you came in the door, you got a group of ballots. This is ballot number 1. You either vote yes or no on the question that's been asked.
is this the vote on the resolution, or is it?
This is what Jeff just made, this is vote on the resolution. The town will approve the solar. Approve it. They have to follow, we have to follow all the contingencies in the resolution.
Okay.
All right?
Point of order, you actually have another section of the motion itself.
Discussion of the motion. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm happy to read the first caveat to be added there. And I don't know if others feel the same. This is, really should be agreed between the Board of Ed and the solar company, and not that extra caveat that I don't know when they added. But I don't know if others feel the same way. I don't think this is the only motion you can raise, and I would like to raise a motion that didn't have that. So I can't, if we vote on this one, we may need more ballots.
You can vote on this motion and vote the motion down if you don't agree with the motion that was presented.
He does not want the town included in the document in the agreement. He wants it solely between the Board of Education and Green Skies.
So this is discussion on the motion?
He wants discussion on the motion. Go ahead.
Discussion on the motion. Scott, I would generally agree with you, except here's the problem. First, the town owns the building. That's 1. 2, given the number of questions I had alone, obviously the school did not have the technical ability to look through this project and ask the right questions. I appreciate the fact that you had someone here that could answer some of the questions, but some of the stuff never should have gotten where it is. All those things should have been addressed by whoever was representing the school board in those conversations. The warranty should have been handed to them on day one when they showed up on the project. The fact that that other roof hadn't been done and the conduit was cutting across it is an issue. The fact that there's no wind study should have been a conversation. There are too many things that were left, and I don't fault this board, they simply don't have the technical skill. That's the why when projects are done in towns, every other town, and including this one up until our current superintendent, would form a capital committee to do the project, like the school roof was. You get one person from the Board of Finance, one person from the Board of Selectmen, two people from the Board of Education, and then you get committee members that are from the community. In this case, we got Mike Russo, we got a couple other guys that are used to running projects in Yukon that have the skill set and the ability to ask these types of questions. That wasn't done in this case. Instead, the project was run by a couple people on the board, and there was no person in that group that had technical knowledge. So if we're going to do this, at the very least, we need someone involved in the project that has a technical skill to say, hey, by the way, we asked all these questions at the meeting, but none of that's still been addressed, so we shouldn't be going forward yet. Somebody needs to be able to say yes or no and have the technical knowledge to be able to answer that question correctly. That's my point on the resolution.
Thank you, I agree, 100%.
Anyone else on the motion and discussion? Hearing none.
They even said that the towns don't usually work with they're going with the school, they deal with the Board of Ed, not with the town. And this is a project on the school, it should be run by the Board of Ed. The town can have some input, but I think when it comes to signing, it should be the Board of Ed.
Anything further?
Yeah. Just so you guys all know, we don't want this to be contentious. As the Board of Ed, we asked for a town meeting for this because we want everyone to be informed. And granted, this has been a subject on almost all of our agendas for the past 8 or 9 months. If you've come to a Board of Ed meeting, if you've ever listened to them, you have heard us talk about this project. So we really appreciate that people are here tonight and asking critical, important questions. Please don't think this is contentious. A power purchase agreement between the school who's buying the energy, right, and the company who's providing it, that's what that agreement is. It's an agreement to buy energy. So I'm a little bit confused on adding the town to it, only because the town is not buying the energy unless you guys are gonna start paying our electricity bills. That's my.
It's our taxes that fund the school.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Listen,
No.
we're all, one second. The school is signing, on the Board of Education is signing on the project. The town will also sign on the project. We're co-signers. We're not taking anyone's authority away, we're not.
We want to work together.
It's all this. So if you don't like it, I can tell you, we can have a legitimate debate about all of the physical assets the town owns and who owns them. I am telling you, this school is owned by the town. And it is run by the Board of Education. You don't have to get into a real debate. You're doing a project on a building that the town owns. We're not telling you no, we're not giving you a problem, we just have some items that we would like addressed in the contract. That's it. If you don't like it, vote no. That's all I can tell you. The motion's on the floor. I would like to call the motion right now, so we can all vote.
Seconded the motion, someone asked that.
Excuse me?
Who seconded it?
Dan Kremek.
No. Sorry. Okay. I wanted to discuss the motion. It was like you seconded it.
I did it.
You want to call the question?
I do. Let's go.
All those in favor of ending debate signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Debate is over. You have your ballot. The first ballot that you were given. Mark yes or mark no, and they will come around and collect the ballots.
If no one minds, we're going to move right into the next part of this meeting. We have to We have to go through this again, so I'm going to skip that. We're here to discuss, to determine if the town will approve financing for the fire department squad vehicle, and a public hearing on the following proposed ordinances to discuss and determine if the town will adopt an ordinance controlling dog waste on town recreational fields, playing fields, and school grounds, an ordinance to update, replace, and nullify the current tax abatement program for the Andover Volunteer Fire Department. And to start the meeting, we need to appoint or choose a moderator. Do I have a nomination for said moderator? Second. Okay, anybody else? No? All right, we're good. Wally, here you go.
Thank you. Okay. You were all, when you came in the door, handed a piece of paper about the financing for the fire truck. The truck was approved over 2 years ago, and it's still in construction, but it's due to be delivered this summer. And there are the three options that were presented in regards to the financing. Do you have anybody who's going to explain
The documents that you guys all have in front of you related to financing, there were three financing options. There was a 5-year option, a 10-year option, and a 15-year option. I'm just letting you know that the 10-year option is what we have budgeted and planned to budget. The Board of Finance has approved those dollars that will cover that. So I'm going to give you back to the moderator to ask any specific questions, but that's the information that you have in front of you. The 10-year option is the one that has been budgeted and the one we can afford.
Question. Adrian.
So Wally, the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen, to clarify, I think this document repeats that, but I just want to be 100% so this is an easy vote. We planned for this for a long time, the money's in the budget, it's already budgeted, so it's not going to change taxes if we go with the 10-year
The
plan.
money is not in the budget. The money is in a fund, the fire engine equipment fund.
That only paid for it for like 400-something thousand. It pays for it for 125 years or 4 years.
Right. The concept is from the Board of Finance to finance that fund as they have in the past
So they'll continue to fund it.
at the 125 level, which will pay off the truck.
So it's as planned, no real changes to the taxes, everything that we've been working on for years is coming into play.
Correct.
If we do the 10-year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Comments?
Call the motion.
When you came in, again, you were given a packet of ballots. This is the one that is says official ballot number 2. Yes or no? Come around and pick up. Jeff seconded.
Get stated.
All right. Ballot number 2.
So Wally has passed this to me to discuss the ordinance that's in front of us. Everybody should have been able to pick this up at the door. It's a town of Andover dog waste control ordinance. The Board of Selectmen has been getting complaints of residents and non-residents allowing their dogs on the field, the Veterans Memorial Field down on Long Hill, and a significant amount of waste being left on the field. So previously, we have passed an ordinance that allows the town to establish fines for items like this. And what we're attempting to do is to sit there and identify locations within town that we would like the pet owners to clean up their waste and dispose of it. So that is the ordinance. If anyone wants to have any questions related to the ordinance, feel free.
How are you going to enforce this? That's my point.
We actually have a new system in place where we, what did that term called? I'll let you do it. This is Town Attorney Dennis O'Brien. He's going to sit there and explain to you the specifics as to how we would go through and implement this. Now, listen, the implementation of identifying who is there and potentially ticketing them is an issue. But what our attempt to do is to allow everyone to know that there is a potential for a fine if you have bad behavior. Will we always enforce the fine? That's a different question. How we do it, I'm going to let the attorney explain. Okay.
I thought I'd never get a chance to speak. Thank you, Jeff. Anyway, I'm Dennis O'Brien, the town attorney, and I was asked to put together an ordinance for this particular problem about dogs going on playing fields and, doing their business and making problems. We have that same problem where I work in Little League in Willimantic. It happens all the time, and this is, somewhat of a deterrent. This is meant to have a deterrent effect. Just like in Willimantic, I always tell our police chief that, you guys are more of a deterrent than anything else. And they are, and it works. Okay, so under this ordinance, I think there was a prior ordinance that didn't carry a fine, and it didn't have any teeth. So what I tried to do is put teeth into this thing, and I made it so that anybody that violated it could be fined. And if they were fined, they'd have to pay the fine, although they'd have a chance to appeal the fine to our new system of, we have a hearing officer system now, citations hearing officer. It's only been used once in a blight case, and it worked out really, really well. Mr. Risley is the hearing officer. He's very, very good, and I'm sure that he can handle any case under this rule. But the ordinance was written with it in mind that we needed something that would be enforceable. And the only way to do that would be to impose a fine. State law allows you to fine, but if you do fine, you have to give notice in advance to the person that they may be fined if they violated. I chose, rather than to have a town employee running around chasing people all over town, giving them notice, hey, if you do this again, you're going to be fined. I chose to go with putting signs up around the fields where you want to keep the dogs off instead, and I thought that would be adequate notice under the law, my opinion. So, again, if somebody, I guess, dog soils a field and it's not picked up and put in the proper receptacle, that's a $100 fine. Just for the dog being on the field is a $50 fine. Okay, those fines could be higher, but I know, I've been around long enough to know that if it made the fine higher, it probably wouldn't pass at a town meeting. I don't know whether it'll pass anyway, but I hope it does. And I hope if it does, I hope it works. And I hope it does help to keep your beautiful athletic fields and school fields clean of dog waste. And I have to say, to be honest, all right, I'm done. Any questions? Any questions? Yes. Oh, he's gonna, good. All right.
Back in the room.
So I understand playing fields, but at Long Hill, there is the walking track. This is saying all town-owned properties. Does that mean I cannot walk my dog with me on that walking track around Long Hill?
Are you going to clean up after your dog?
Yes, I'm a responsible pet owner.
Then no one is going to bother you.
Thank you.
But it does say,
It does say that would have to be judicial overreach, and I don't think you're going to find anyone on this board that wants to do that.
And why does it say that?
Yeah, why does it say that? I'd like to see it.
And vote no. Why?
I'd like to see no dogs allowed on public property. Which is town property, take it out. Now certainly, all of us with dogs walk with our little bags and do take care of that stuff. But to ban dogs from town property with a playing field, just to let our dogs run on occasion, if we're not responsible for picking up the defecation when they do that, is serious overreach. And I think it's, Dennis, as usual, you're an overreach kind of guy. And I really am.
It doesn't say.
Can I read? I'll read it just so everybody can understand it. It says, public property, the playing field area of any recreational field, playing field, school grounds, or playgrounds owned, leased, or maintained by the town of Andover. So to go back to your question in the back, that would not be considered the playing field?
Well, that's why I said.
That's okay.
In playing field, but it says all town-owned property.
Yeah, it says playing field area.
But it's around the area.
I know, but playing field area is where you're going to have a soccer game, let's say in that area. So inside the track, if you want to be specific, 10 feet on the inside of the track. I mean, come on, listen, this is not us trying to sit there and create something that we don't want. I have a dog as well. I hope my dog goes in the woods. Mr. Denley used to have a woods next to his house, no longer there. It's a beautiful house that pays a lot of property taxes, and I'm very happy it's there. But I remember one time he wrote an editorial about his dog not being able to go into that nice area to do its business. This is all this is about. This is an attempt by a board to sit there and try to remove waste from a playing area and any public property. That's it.
So I move that the investment program does not have a fine or signs about not having your dog there, just about cleanup. The $100 fine is fine, but make it about cleanup and not about the dog presence.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Motion about cleaning up your dog, not about.
I second Scott.
I second.
Why is everybody shouting at once, please?
Second, Scott.
Okay, Scott, you made a motion to amend
Correct.
this. Is there a second?
Second.
Adrian Mandeville, second.
Thank you.
Discussion on the amendment.
Great idea. Great idea.
Julia?
Well, I think you need signage, number one. Because if you're not telling people that an ordinance is applying to this public property, whether it's a field or a playground, they deserve a sign. And I would think did you mention putting a receptacle for the bags there? No, okay. Well, that's something they could handle themselves by taking it along with them when they leave the playing field. You don't want them stacking up on the edge of the river or, kinds of things that might happen.
Just to clarify, just so Scott, your motion, Adrian, it says, no dogs allowed on public property, you want that removed.
Correct.
And you want the $50 fine related to dogs on the public property removed.
Correct.
Okay, I don't have a problem.
Let's go. Further comment?
I think that's a reasonable request.
Well, person, further comment, Beth? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I actually just have a good question. I'm not sure if I'm recording, but I'd like to know is how are you identifying the offenders? You guys have to see where you want everywhere in town so that it's going to be a chance. There's a few places talking.
We don't have police in the town of Andover. We only have individuals. Anyone could sit there and make a notice of a citizen's arrest. You can contact the town administrator, and the town administrator may go down to the recreational field and stake them out. It's really the only way we're going to do it. We're just trying to sit there and put in an opportunity for us to control a problem that has been brought to our attention.
Signage would.
Let's deal with that later.
Georgia?
When we vote on this, we're voting with the amendment.
Correct.
Okay.
We're crossing out this whole section, and we're taking out the $50 fine.
Okay.
We're leaving the $100 fine in.
Right.
$100 fine stays in or not picking up?
Not picking up.
That was your motion, Scott?
What was $50?
No more 50, just 100? 100 if don't pick up.
Yep.
You good working with them? Excellent. Let's go.
Okay, no more questions? Ballot number 3. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
So I walked my dogs, 7 of them, around that ball field for 1 year. I feel bad for my dog. But after every game, that place is filthy. There's clothes, there's trash, there's food. If we're gonna make an event, something about dogs, we need to be after the people who are down there before making a mess. I no longer walk my dogs down there because of the liquor bottles, because of the trash that is around that wall. So all garbage is not just dog species, it's people being slobs down there too. And I think that needs to be addressed, as much as the dogs. I've seen a lot of people who don't live in town, stop there by letting the dogs out to eat.
Can we add an amendment to this to say, to make the littering as well?
Understood, and we will sit there and take that up at a different time.
Got it.
But you're not wrong, but you gotta remember, there's less frequent events down there right now.
Not one trash can down for anybody.
Okay.
So why can't they go around that?
All right, thank you.
But not have trash receptacles down there, we must, right?
No, Don, we don't.
We don't?
No. Because the organizations that were using it were required to bring their own trash professionals. There, we're supposed to handle it.
Bring it up.
So, yeah, I know, I got you. So, anyway, this is related to one specific item. It is amended as you sit there and see. So you're voting on the amended item of crossing out the sections of no dogs on public property and removal of the $50 fine. You want me to vote to amend it?
Yes,
Okay, sorry. Garbage cans. Wait a second, the town attorney tells me I need to make a motion.
No, you need to vote on the amendment.
Vote on the amendment.
Okay.
So all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay, great.
Opposed? Okay, you have the calling, please. Back to the original ballot as amended, question number 3. And we'll pick the ballots up, count.
I don't have a sense of the wording of this revised amendment. Somebody read it at the podium.
Okay, go. Sorry, touch this. Yes. Oh, first, like, oh, sorry. Nope, you can't. Thank you.
Everyone voted?
Excuse me?
All right, if you don't mind, we will move on to the next item, and we'll let you know the outcome once we get it counted. Ordinance to update, replace, and notify the current tax abatement program, the Andover Volunteer Fire Department ordinance. On what? On paid for? 73 yes, 2 no.
Oh, on what?
That was on the payment for the squad. Number 73. I'm going to call on Chief Ron White if he'd like to come up here, please, and speak to the ordinance changes.
We can be out of here in 5 minutes if you guys want to make it quick.
Okay, do it.
So the tax abatement basically is in place right now for the members of the fire department based on years of service and certifications they had. State of Connecticut, a couple of years back, allowed it to go up to $2,000 for a maximum, which is based on 10 years of service and certifications there, again, being a firefighter one, EMT. We started it, what, about 20 years ago here in Andover? And at that time, it was, the top amount was $1,000 for 10 plus years of service. So you had to be in the department for 10 years to get a $1,000 tax abatement. And when we put it in play, it's based on the percentage of calls that you make a year. So members have to make 15% of calls. They don't just get it automatically. They have to get up, get out of bed, go to fire calls, go to ambulance calls, do all the necessary stuff to make the abatement. So it's not just like, come down, fill out an application, we'll vote you in tomorrow, and you'll get a $1,000 abatement. You know, you gotta work for it. The certifications, the EMT is up to 200 hours. Firefighter one is 180 now, I believe, right? So, I mean, if these people have to work to get certified to get that money, and they also have to get out of bed and come to calls and serve the community. We're asking to double it up to what the state allows as a recruitment thing. If anybody wants applications, I'll get you one tonight. And also as a retention aspect of it. Because the people that are doing it now have been doing it for a long time, and it's kind of a thank you to them to say, hey, we're gonna get you a little bit more money for what you're doing. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Questions? Do we have anything in place? I know some other towns are doing it, but they also pay for the call. Do we have any? Well, we have a cost recovery system that's through the fire commission's budget, and it's based on number of calls and how many calls you made. And it averages out, I'll tell you for myself, it averages out to like $600 every 6 months, based on the number of calls I make. If I don't make as many calls, it's less money.
We're not going to do anything special, it's not a no-brainer.
Right, well, I mean, you're doubling what the members are getting now if we approve this, which is, like I said, it's more or less, thank you for your job, and please keep doing it as a retention aspect of keeping the people we have that we have now. Hopefully it'll help with recruitment when the word gets out that we do this, but, like I said, it takes a lot of time and effort to get certified and do this training to try to bring new people in off the street. But people that are doing it now, they need to stay. This is the way I want to try to keep them here.
Is this going to include the person that doesn't live in the town? It's going to be able to get the abatement?
So, all right, here's the miscommunication that was in the Chronicle also. In the Chronicle, it said that there was a person that doesn't live in town and gets it now. That person's me. I live in Columbia. I served the fire department for 42 years. And since this has been in play, I have to qualify. I mean, I qualify, but I don't get it because.
So you're still not getting it?
So I'm still not getting it today. To be honest with you, I don't really care if I get it or not. That's not why I do the job. So, what's that? I may one of these days anyways, who knows? So move back to town. I started in town, that's why I've stayed in town. So with the change that would come in this, yes, I would qualify for it. And currently we have 3 other members that are two members that are junior members that live in Hebron. Because for a while, Hebron wasn't taking any 16-year-old members. We were. So, and we're like, we'll take whatever help we can get. And the only way they would qualify for this is if they have a motor vehicle registered in their name. Because they don't have a property tax in the town of Andover. And they would qualify if they have a vehicle registered, that's it. So if they have a junker car that's worth, $200 in taxes and say they qualify for 5, they only get $200. They get their junker car taxes paid for. So it's not like it's gonna cost a lot more money. The average per year, and if you got the informational stuff that was sent out there over the last couple of years, Scott Yeoman's put it all together, pretty good. You know, just going back to 2018, it's never been over $20,000 a year. So, I mean, you're talking taking it, say 20,000, which this year was just about 18,000. So you're talking 18,000 to 36,000. Sounds like a cheap. You know, like I said, it's a thank you to the membership for what they do, the ones that are there currently, and hopefully it gets us some new people interested in saying, hey, maybe I'll go join the fire department. And, you know, Jeff said he was putting an application in tomorrow, so. I need the tax credit.
That includes the word NOAA on it, which, what is that?
So get rid of the old one.
Find the old one.
Get rid of the old one. Get rid of the old, right, the old one that was written up years ago and put this new one into place.
All right.
Right, so.
So Mike, just in perspective, how much would it cost us to hire?
If you put a full-time firefighter in the benefits and everything, you're probably talking $50,000 to $60,000 a year. And one firefighter doesn't do the job, you need to have at least 2 or 3 of them. So,
How many volunteer firefighters do we have in the town of Andover right now?
there's currently about 32 on the roster. Right, but not every one of those qualifies for this. That's the important thing, is that it's the people that put in the time, the effort, that qualify. And they may qualify this year and not qualify next year due to work complications, family complications, health issues. So that's why it changes every year. One year it could be 18, next year it could be 20,000 if everybody's super active and they show up.
So is that 32 firefighters plus there's EMS workers?
No, that's all together. We're all one big group. Firemen, EMTs, it's all one group.
So I guess my question is, how many firefighters do we have? How many EMTs do we have?
You'd have to ask them. Firefighters, I'm gonna just spitball the ballparks because I don't have them in front of me without my list to look at. Probably about 10 or 12 that are firefighter certified, and the EMTs, maybe how many? How many certified EMTs we have right now?
Active or full?
On the roster, how many certified? 16 of them, and some of them are firefighter and EMTs, so they're certified in both aspects of it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Would this have to extend to the families if something, God forbid, happened to the firemen?
no, it never has in the past either for the past 20 some odd years. It's strictly for the active firefighters, right? Any other questions? Very good.
All right. Want to make a motion?
All questions?
You need to have a motion made.
Motion to call question.
Need a motion to vote on.
Make a motion to vote on the fire abatement road.
You're making a motion that the town adopt the ordinance update.
I'll second it.
Second by Louise. Okay, so the question's been called. Your final ballot of the night, number 4, the one you've all been waiting for. Please mark yes or no, and we'll pick up the ballot. Oh, I did not announce the numbers for the animal control. The amended ordinance, the numbers are yes 62, no 13, so that passed. On the ordinance, update in place to nullify the text of big program for the Andover Volunteer Fire Department ordinance, 73 yes, 1 no. Someone will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor? The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
So the final votes for tonight's activities, I'm going to wrap up for the evening since I missed the first one. The solar energy project with amendments passed 53 yes, 24 no. The fire truck funding was 73 yes, 2 no. The dog waste ordinance, also with amendments, was 62 yes, 13 no. And the adjustment to the abatement for Andover Volunteer Fire Department was 73 yes and 1 no.